In case you don't know, Chris Rock just released his new stand-up comedy special. Not necessarily in response to the slap heard around the world, the last Oscars. Oh wow! But obviously, everybody was anticipating this special because he hadn't really responded to it. He has been keeping it on the low. And trust me, just that clip I watched about his response to Will Smith was, it seems him and Will Smith are no longer friends.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It's like, obviously, with something like that, there's going to be criticisms and praise. The praise comes because obviously Chris Rock is a comedian, and you don't slap a comedian for jokes. Nobody does that.
You serious?
It's jokes. No matter, nobody is beyond being joked about. Yes, sometimes the time and place matters, but if stand-up comedy is your kind of job, then nobody is off limits. And from the joke he said at the Oscars, it wasn't really that offensive. It wasn't even offensive at all.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Okay, so here's the problem, or let me say, here's the assumed problem. Apparently, maybe only to Will Smith and his close circle, Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, had or has alopecia. So alopecia is this condition where you lose your hair. Chris Rock was trying to make a joke about alopecia, and then he mentioned G.I. Jane. And then that got Will Smith all riled up. But if we were to analyze that joke, G.I. Jane from that movie was not kind of like more like a strong female character.
What is your father's name? It's a simple question, Lieutenant. No reason not to answer unless you want to bleed. What is your father's name?
Dad.
And all he was saying was like, he's expecting her to play G.I. Jane too. And that wasn't really offensive, if you ask me. That was normal. Like, okay. The joke wasn't even that funny and wasn't even that offensive. And then Will Smith walked up and slapped him. So Chris Rock really laid into Will Smith like punch after punch after punch.
Because everybody knows what the fuck happened. Everybody that really knows I had nothing to do with that shit. I didn't have any entanglements. She hurt him way more than he hurt me, okay? Okay?
And he alluded to something. He said, obviously, Will Smith came to slap him because he's a smallish person. And he came to slap somebody he knows he can beat.
Everybody called that man a bitch. And who's he hit? Me. A nigga he know he could beat. That is some bitch ass shit.
That's a fair point, because after the slap, many people were like, if that were like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson making whatever offensive joke about Will Smith's wife, or say Jesse Momoa or some other Hollywood bad guy, would Will Smith have had the guts to walk up that staircase and slap? Nah, I don't think so. He only did it because he knows Chris Rock. He knows Chris Rock is his friend. He knows Chris Rock is smallish, and he knows he has more clout in Hollywood than Chris Rock. Even though not taking anything away from Chris Rock. Chris Rock is a Hollywood legend. Chris Rock is a comedy legend. Nothing I'm taking away from him. But Will Smith is among those like top Hollywood guys. So he knew that nothing was going to happen. Or maybe he was not thinking. Anyway, something did happen because he was banned in the Oscars for 10 years. But Chris Rock, being a big boy, handled it perfectly well. So, based on what is said, do I think Will Smith deserves to be railed upon like that by Chris Rock? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the only other option was that either Chris Rock was going to press charges and sue Will Smith, which I don't think he did, or I don't think he's going to do, or he's going to hire thugs or something to go beat up Will Smith, which is a crime in itself.
And a lot of people go, Chris, how come you didn't do nothing back? How come you didn't do nothing back that night? Because I got parents. That's why. Because I was raised. Okay?
So using the platform of his comedy to sort of punish Will Smith a little bit, I think it's fair, just considering what Will Smith did. Remember, he slapped Chris Rock on the biggest stage ever. Nothing is bigger than the Oscars. Even the Grammys is not bigger than the Oscars. And you go and slap a grown-ass man that probably has grandkids. You slap him. For those people that say words are violence, no. Violence is violence. If you have a problem with a comedian, you could write them, you could, I don't know, you could see them after the comedy special and try to talk to them. There are many ways that Will Smith could have handled that. Will Smith could have waited till the show was over and go meet Chris Rock if he felt offended. I mean, Chris Rock was his friend or was his friend. You can approach your friend and be like, bro, I didn't like what you said about my wife. And I'm sure Chris Rock would have been like, oh, I apologize, bro. I apologize. Because that's what friends do. Secondly, you could have even written him or something, or even if you wanted to slap him, you could have slapped him off camera.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Chris Rock is not the one that initiated this. Remember, it is Will Smith when he stood up from that chair. And it's a given that in a kind of ceremony like that, I've watched many Oscars, and the people that sit in front at least are all fair game. The comedians make fun of this person. As long as you're sitting down in front, you're not going to be spared. It's anticipated that you was going to get an award. You're going to get made fun of by the comedian, by the host. So it was normal. So it was just strange that he made a joke and then he looked at his wife, and from the clip, he was smiling at first. And then he looked at his wife and she was not smiling. Will Smith actually deserves all the comment to him. He deserves the railing. Although I'm not going to stop watching Will Smith movies because I think he's an excellent actor. I'm not the kind of person that if my favorite actor or musician does something and then I stop watching their movies or I stop listening to their songs, nah. I'm still going to watch Will Smith movie. I still think he's a great actor. I just feel like he should really... I don't really feel like he's sorry. I feel like he should just take it on the chin. He's going to suffer this for another 5 years. That's just a given. Before Hollywood forgives him or the entire industry forgives him, it's going to take another 5-6 years. So he should buckle up for the long haul.